Next week, on July the 1st, Spanish airspace will be open. We are ready to welcome international productions. We have already implemented new sanitary, tax, and legal measures that make us the most competitive filming destination. Spain Film Commission has worked hard to make it possible. We are at your disposal to welcome you and happy to help you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa, so much. I hope we already are having questions in our Q&A tab, so we will proceed further. Now I want to welcome Natasha Mora, which is the coordinator of Canary Islands Film. Natasha, please welcome.
Thank you, Elena, and good afternoon, and thank you for attending this presentation about the Spanish tax incentive for the audiovisual industry, about the possibilities of shooting in Spain. Now I will talk about a specific case of the Canary Islands. Well, my name is Natasha and I coordinate the audiovisual department of the Canary Islands government. Nice to meet you. The tax incentive that you can apply if you come and shoot in Spain, that Teresa has already explained, these tax incentives are increased in 20 percentage points if you come and shoot the same project in the Canary Islands. And why? Because we enjoy an own economic and tax regime. So as you know, the Canary Islands are Spanish territories. We are a fragmented territory with 8 islands situated in the south of Europe, near to Africa. And because of our geographical situation, and in order to diversify our economy, the European Union declared the Canary Islands an outermost region, and that's why we have our own economic and tax regime. And thanks to this regime, we can offer higher incentive, higher deduction than in the rest of Spain, not only for audiovisual sector, also for other industries. So that means that in case of international production, if you come to shoot here to the Canary Island, you can apply a 50% tax rebate for the first million and a 45% tax rebate from then on. In case of Spanish production, no co-production, you can apply a tax credit, in this case, with the same percentage, a 50% tax credit for the first million and a 45%, excuse me, tax credit for from then on. So the limit is also higher. The incentive is capped in the Canary Island at 18 million euros. At this moment, we are waiting for the publication of this legislation that should reflect the new limit. No? And the requirements are the same. The requirements you have to follow are the same than in the rest of Spain. I mean, you have to hire a local service company with tax domicile in the Canary Islands. You have to spend 1 million euros in the Canary Islands. Only in case of animation or visual effects, then you have to spend 200,000 instead the 1 million euros. And the third requirement is that the budget, the minimum budget of your project must be 2 million euros. So these are the incentives directly related with the film industry. In the Canary Island, we also have 2 more incentives that I think they are also attractive for the film industry. One of them is the Canary Island Special Zone. It's called the ZEC Zone. It's an incentive that allows to set up your company in the Canary Islands and benefit from a reduced rate of a 4% instead the 25 or the 21%. You can benefit from a 4%. And the other one is our VIT. Our VIT normally is 7%, but in case of shooting, in case of the film industry, you will apply a 0% VIT. So for all these tax rebates, tax incentive, well, and not only for the tax incentive, for other reasons like of course, our weather or the natural lights that we have here in the Canary Islands, and the location, and of course, the experience, and not only of the local industry, also the experience of the public administration. In the last year, some of the major film companies like Universal, Warner, Paramount, or HBO, Disney, Netflix, they have shot in the Canary Islands, and some of them repeat and come again to shoot the projects there. So to support the question regarding the project, you can contact directly with the team of Canary Islands Film. Canary Islands Film, since 5 years ago, Canary Islands Film works as a single contact. It's the umbrella of the film industry in the Canary Islands, founded together with the Canary Islands government, the Film Commission of each island, the Canary Islands Special Zone, and of course the film industry, the local industry. So all the agents that are directly related with the film industry in the Canary Islands form part of this umbrella. So that's more or less our tax incentive, our difference in the Canary Islands. We will be active during Marché du Film. You can find our contact in Cinema from Spain Pavilion. So, and if you want to learn more or any doubts that you have, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you again.
Thank you, Natasha. We are all running to the Canary Islands, not only because of the incentive, but because of the wonderful weather and the wonderful landscape and the wonderful people over there. Now I would like to welcome Adrián Guerra. Adrián Guerra is a really experienced producer. His company is called Nostromo Pictures. He's been involved as an executive producer of small things like Was Next War by Olivera Sayas that was in Venice Film Festival. He's also the producer of a film that is one of the most intelligent, daring films in the past year that is called Buried by Rodrigo Cortés, Red Lies, Blackwood, and the list goes on and on and on. So I would like to welcome Adrián, and please, Adrián, give us a little bit of all your knowledge, share with us all your knowledge in co-productions as well as production service. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you to Deica and IFEX in Spain for inviting me to this panel. My name is Adrián Guerra, and as Elena said, I'm a producer at Nostromo Pictures and president of Profilm, that's the Association of Spanish production services in Spain. As Elena said, I've done a fair share of production services, co-production. I've shot my movies in Spain. I've shot all over the world, my movies. I shot in Colombia, in the States, in Canada. So I'm very familiar with how production services work in the world. And I think there's no place like Spain. We have a wonderful country. We have, Spain is one of the most visited territories in the world. Like I think after France, we get like 75 million people every year. So we have amazing hotels, safety, infrastructures, people speak English and other languages. So it's a very welcoming country to come in and work. Thanks to the new updates on the tax incentive, I think we are in a great position to become a major production hub in Europe for productions all over the world. We have right now two schemes for tax incentive. One of them is for foreign productions, another one is for Spanish productions and co-productions. For foreign productions is quite straightforward. Basically, a foreign producer that wants to come shoot in Spain, they need to engage a Spanish producer, create a vehicle, an SPV, or just use the producer's entity that's registered at ICA, and engage them with a PSA, with a production services agreement, to develop the tax in Spain. So after production is done, the tax year of that entity finishes, they can claim back the tax credit. It's as easy as that. It doesn't involve complex audit processes or qualifications. The requirements are quite simple. And so far, this is working beautifully. We had the problem up to recently that the cap was 3 million euros, so that enabled productions to come here for a long time. Now it has been improved, so now we have a cap of 10 million euros, and we have in mainland Spain 30% tax rebate on the first million of expenditure, and we have a 25% rebate on the rest of the expenditure. This, as my partner said earlier, gets improved in Canary Islands and Navarra. So far, as I said, the experience with the foreign tax rebate is excellent and it's been improved. And we think it's the most straightforward and easier way for foreign producers to come into Spain, because you don't need a qualification process and you can come in right away and get up and working within weeks. So that's for foreign productions. For co-productions, we need to go through the Spanish tax shelter. Compared to the foreign film tax rebate, the difference is that tax shelter, you need to find a local taxpayer to cash the tax incentive. Like if you are a foreign movie coming to Spain, the government will pay you directly. If you are doing a co-production or you are doing a Spanish local film, you need to find a wealthy company, a wealthy individual that pays many taxes that will exchange your tax credit for money. The process it's really good, but it's more complex than with services. You need to qualify as Spanish, which requires going to the Spanish Film Institute and meeting a minimum of parameters where there's a number of Spanish or EU nationals that need to be involved, both on the creative side and on below the line, and certain processes that need to happen in Spain. It's nothing out of the ordinary, and most territories have a bilateral treaty with Spain, but it's not something that you do overnight. It's something that needs some prep, and I would say you need at least 2 months of leeway to do it before your production actually starts. The good thing about going through the tax shelter compared to the foreign tax rebate is that on the foreign tax rebate, you get the rebate basically on your pure Spain in Spain. So if you are hiring a grip in Spain, you get a rebate back on that grip. But if you're hiring a UK actor in Spain, you would only get rebate up to 100K on that fee. If you are going through the Spanish tax shelter, then there's no caps. So if you hire a major star that's coming to Spain and is getting paid $500,000, then you're getting the tax shelter on the $500,000 fee. Also, there's some benefits that you can qualify the Spanish P&A, finance expenses, overhead charges, like everything that's normally in the budget will qualify with no limits into the tax shelter. So yeah, it's very straightforward if you have the taxpayer investor. That's something that we'll see this year how it works given the COVID situation. But so far there's a few companies that specialize in this, and they can help foreign producers coming into Spain navigate those waters. And we have really top-notch tax firms in Spain that are also specialized in helping producers set up the vehicles for this. The good news also, besides having the increased tax shelter, is that now the subsidies and soft money in Spain have been updated to allow for easier access to funding for minority co-productions. Up to recently, because of the economic crisis, most of the funding from subsidies was going to purely Spanish movies or majority Spanish produced films. So that didn't allow us, a Spanish producer, to really be competitive with a French producer or a German producer when it came to being a minority producer. Now the system has changed. They've introduced, for example, in Catalonia, they've introduced a new subsidy line for minority co-productions. So I think now Spain is going to be a major player in the co-production area. We will see a lot more Spanish co-productions in Europe in the next few months. Yeah, I think I had 8 minutes, so I don't know if I spent all of them. I can answer more specific questions in the Q&A. Thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot, Adrian. That was very enlightening. Thank you for sharing your experience. And our next speaker is Gonzalo Carrion. He's a member of DIBUS, which is an association focused on animation and VFX. Gonzalo is also the managing director of El Ranchito, which is a VFX studio that has done small little things like the dragons of Game of Thrones. They have been involved in Jurassic Park, The Fallen Kingdom, The Mandalorian. They are also responsible for creating the wave that destroys everything in the impossible. So as you can see, there are very competitive and very interesting VFX studios in Madrid. So Gonzalo, please let us know all the wonderful things that you do in El Ranchito.
Okay, thank you, Elena. Thank you all for attending this session at the Marchefin, for giving us the opportunity of speaking. I'm Gonzalo Carrion, Managing Director of El Ranchito, member of the board of the Spanish Federation Animation, as said Elena, DIBUS, which I represent also, with Adrian. I'm also a member of the board of the Profilm, the International Production Service Companies Association, and ALIA, the Audiovisual Industry Alliance Association. I'm very excited and proud of talking the benefits of hiring VFX in Spain, because there are tons of benefits. I'm not getting into the tax rebate, because I think my colleagues just make every point clear. I'm just talking about why you should hire VFX companies. We know that most of the people see Spain as sun, wine, siesta, and paella, and we love that. But we also have amazing technology, digital artists, lighting fast connectivity, production companies, as Adrian just mentioned, and also visual effects companies. So let me talk about what is needed to do astonishing VFX work. Well, you first need to be technical. You have to be an artist. You need a very, very good internet connection, digital security, a lot of hard work, tons of patience, and everything mixed with a competitive price. And of course, the trust of our clients. So I want to talk about how Spanish technology comes into visual effects. Spanish technology has been present in the visual effects industry from the beginning. Did you know a Spanish company that had developed the first unbiased render, inspiring others to follow that vision? And that company has been the Technical Achievement Award of the Oscars for making the simulation of fluids for the Lord of the Ring. That company's Next Limit was some years ago. Talking about render, do you know that Arnold Render is the industry standard used by far by all the visual effects company in the whole world, has been developed in Spain by Marcos Fajardo. So we have great, great minds. What can we do with all those pixels? We need to mix them. It's not all about rendering and simulation. For that, you can use Mystica, the world's most advanced hero suite for editing, color grading, stereo, VR, 8K, and incredible VFX finishing tool. Mystica is being developed by SGO here in Spain for the last 27 years. If we are talking about working from home, everything goes cloud, as we can see with the coronavirus. Then we have to talk about simple cloud animation, a pipeline on cloud services, render farms. Simple Cloud Animation is a global cloud-based platform for digital content management and creation. It's a great example on how collaborative workflows can be very efficient and secure. And about digital security, I have to mention that the Spanish company are now migrating from the Motion Picture Association standard to the Trust Partner and Network standard, applying the highest content and security controls in the industry. There is also a lot of research and development going on with the virtual production. In Spain, we are collaborating with the top companies to create the industry standards of picture production. So everything will be set when you decide to shoot in Spain in our virtual sets with the best photorealistic assets made just for you. So we know how to be technical. We are so technical that we built the technology that makes VFX, and also we do it with the highest security standards. If we are talking about internet connectivity, that's a must in the VFX industry. Spain is the 8th country in the whole world of internet connectivity. We have the state-of-the-art infrastructures of amazing huge companies as Telefónica, Indra, making sure that everything works on the clock. When the Spanish authorities declared the state of alarm because of the coronavirus on Thursday, 13th of May, in just 3 days, companies like Ranchito or Illinois Studio, now Skyline and Animation, with over 300 people, worked from without any issues at all, like a regular Monday, in 3 days. I want to thank to all the Spanish IT teams. They did an extraordinary work under high pressure circumstances. We have great minds and great technicians. So we need to be artists. Well, we are a very, very talented digital artist. We have a cultural visual inheritance from Velázquez, Picasso, Goya. You all know those painters, Chillida, Eduardo Arroyo, no? Sculptures, Antonio Lopez. Art runs really through our veins. All over the world, you can see Spanish artists like Carlos Baeno, no? Working in companies like ILM, Pixar. He's CEO of Animator Mentors and now directing feature films like La Noria, no? Or Carlos Caballero, no? VFX supervisor at INEC, or Ivan Busquets, VFX supervisor at Industrial Light and Magic. A very, very talented artist in the world. Thanks to the Spanish artists with this technical view, we have been awarded by the Emmys, by Visual Effects Society, and the Hollywood Professional Association. That's why companies, as Adrian just mentioned and Teresa has mentioned, like Netflix, Amazon, HBO, Apple, Disney, Paramount, Universal, has trusted VFX Spanish companies to develop their shows, like The Mandalorian, Game of Thrones, Lost in Space, Lock and Key, Yellowstone, Jurassic World, Megan Levy, Colony. So we are technical, we have an extraordinary artist, digital security, and great infrastructures. And as I mentioned before, to wrap it all up, we have very competitive price, the tax incentive of 200K minimum at 30% on the first million and 25% thereafter of eligible spend. And the astonishing currently rebate is it's really a great game changer. All the projects, small or big, can benefit of it. Spain ranks the fourth place to work and live in the whole world. The great overall well-being because of the good weather, safety, schooling, healthcare. So we get artists from all over the world every day joining our community. So we are not going to run out of artists. So I suppose paella, sun, siesta does something to do with it after all. We know how to work hard, but we know how to live well. I think that's the secret of life. So I want to hire a VFX company. It sounds very great. What should I do? Well, you should contact the Spanish Federation of Animation and VFX Divus, and they will find the right partner for your show. I want to introduce Natalie from Divus, and she can talk more about animation. But first, we have a little video of animation of the reel of Divus, just to see. I don't know if you can't put the video.
Perdón,
Can you shoot the video? Put the video on. So I think I might have a little misunderstanding.
Yes, the video it's going, if you know, I think we are giving the floor to Natalie Martinez first, and then we are closing with the video. I think that was the latest indication. Please, yeah, we are trying. Sorry, I'm just listening through the other. Yeah, Jerome. Yeah. Jerome, do you think we can? Jerome, do you think we can have the video now, or maybe it's better? Okay, let's have Natalie here because it seems the video is going to take a little bit. So Natalie, please, Natalie Martinez from Wise Blue Studios, which is an animation studio that has done, well, the latest thing is Animal Crackers. Just a small animation with the voices of Josh Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Ian McKellen, Danny DeVito, Sylvester Stallone, which was premiered at Sea in official selection in 2017. So welcome, Natalie. Please let us know about your wonderful animation expertise.
Thank you very much. So I knew something was gonna happen, and it happened to me. I'm a magnet for this kind of things. You were supposed to be watching a video right now, but I'm sure we're gonna be able to play it a little bit later. So don't worry, expect a great animation. So thank you, Elena, for having me. Thank you to the Academy of, to the Ministry of Culture and the ICA, the Cinema Division, for having me here to tell you a little bit more about animation. My name is Natalie Martinez, and I'm a producer on Animal Crackers and other shows, but now I'm a producer at White Studios, my new studio, and I'm here as Gonzalo Carrion, my fellow in the DIBUS Federation. DIBUS is the Spanish Animation and VFX Guild of Producers. So you know we are both representing this federation, and this federation represents around 85% of all animation and VFX companies in the country. So when looking for a partner, as Gonzalo mentioned, in Spain regarding these domains, either VFX or animation, we really encourage you to contact the Guild through our website, which is www.dibus.com, spelled with a double O. And from there, we will take care of introducing you to all our associates and find the right fit for your needs. That said, and I should be able to talk about the video right now, but it's not gonna happen. So you will be able to watch later very nice showcase video showing the diversity, the creative diversity of all our associates, and in both forms, animation styles and formats as well. And you will see how remarkable 2D animation work we have, CGI animation as well, VFX, full animated movies, hybrid movies with integration in live action movies. So only that, what you're going to be able to watch in this video is already a good reason to come work with us in Spain. But now, thanks to these new tax rebates, we can really offer an even better frame. So let me break down a little bit for you how we can take advantage of these new conditions. First of all, the type of productions we can undertake together in animation, and how we can take advantage of this new situation is clearly diverse. As some of my fellow panelists already mentioned to you, we can both also in animation on different type of productions, co-productions involving Spanish investors, as Adrian already explained to you. This option also benefits from remarkable higher percentage on tax rebates with this new regulation now. And we can also work in straight work for hire jobs, providing production services in animation and VFX. When providing production services, we can outsource a full movie. You can outsource a full movie to us, or just partial jobs, like a full department, part of the animation, post-production work only, etc., whatever you think about. And this is really what the new regulations of tax rebates have brought a game changer to our industry. Both animation and VFX benefit from the new ground regarding the minimum expense in Spain. The new minimum expense, as my mates already explained to you, require only a 200,000 euros expense, eligible expense in Spain to apply to tax rebates. So let me say this again, the minimum eligible expense in Spain is 200,000 euros. And why is this a game changer? Well, before that time, the minimum threshold for expenses was 1 million. But from now on, with this 200K grant for animation and VFX specifically, practically every production can apply to the tax rebates, regardless the size of the budget. So you would imagine the number of things we can do for you: animation services, teasers for movies, storyboarding, or previous work for live action movies, pilots, TV shows, or direct-to-video movies with a small to medium-sized budget. Everything you might want to outsource, either is it full productions or partial services, might be able to apply right now with this new ground that's been lowered for animation and VFX. But this is just regarding the minimum in order to apply. As my previous fellows already mentioned, the maximum cap has also been raised to 10 million, which opens a new scenario for outsourcing full movies production to full movie productions to Spain. Raising the cap to 10 million, so you have an example, allow us to undertake the full production of movies up to 30, 35%, 30 or 35 million in Spain mainland, depending on the eligible expenses. And of course, we have also companies, animation companies and VFX companies in Canary Island that can benefit from even higher cap to 18 million. So, but my colleague from the Canary Islands already explained that to you. So I will encourage you to think how many paperwork and communication and coordination issues you might throw in all the production to a single country or company, instead of having to split the work between different territories in order to maximize the tax rebates of every country as we used to know until now. So now we can save you time, paperwork, coordination issues, and all of this by producing your movie in a single country or with a single company, ideally here in Spain. So we have creativity, we have versatility, we also have great tax incentives. What else? Technology and artistic background will be my two takes. My fellow Gonzalo already explained a lot about technology. I'm not gonna try to, play him. He's the best. Speaking of this, just point out that connectivity, working overseas, video calls, online production tracking tools, working in the cloud, all that was already in our DNA way before COVID-19. But I cannot stress enough how ready we are to face any other wave, which we don't have to, or any other incident that, make us force us to work from home or overseas. We have already been working overseas internationally for years. So all these tools that are so important right now in this era were already part of our DNA since forever, I would say. Put it this way, we will be able to work with you as if you were really here, even if you are 10,000 miles away. That is true, you won't have paella, but we'll work on that. So that will be one thing, the technology. The other part will be the Spanish cultural background, which is widely recognized, as Gonzalo already mentioned too. Spanish artists has been present in international scene for a while now, and you all might have heard of, the several movies that have been multiple awarded in the last year or 2 years. The first example that comes to my mind, and you for sure have heard about, is Klaus, which was Oscar nominee for Best Animated Feature in 2019, but it was also winner of 7 Annie Awards, a BAFTA, 2 Goyas. What else? Buñuel in The Labyrinth of the Turtles, Annie Awards nominee as well, winner at Annecy for Best 4, and Goya Award winner for Best Animated Movie. Pat Jones franchise, huge hit at the Spanish box office, and also distributed in a countless number of territories. Another Day of Life, Goya was winner on this year too, on his year, and winner at the European Cinema Awards for Best Animated Movie, among other multiple awards. And closer to us, and I don't want to forget, right now, Giuseppe. Giuseppe is an animated movie in the official selection at the Festival du Film de Cannes 2020, and allow me to wish all the best to their team here at the festival. So as you can see, the talent is there, but not only that, our Spanish talent is demanded and recruited internationally with a remarkable presence of all the Spanish artists in all the big studios around the world, but very especially in Canada, US, UK, and also we constantly, the producers guild, the institutions, companies, everybody works to build an even better talent pool here in Spain through education and making huge improvements in that part too. But as Gonzalo mentioned, it's true that being part of the European Union and not needing a visa to attract talent from the whole Europe, our talent pool really reaches the whole continent. So that's great. Needless to say that because Spain belongs to the European Union, we also guarantee a common and extremely secure legal frame, related to contract, IP protections for producers and creators, because these days being out globally. Well, that's also important to point out. So I'm sorry if I'm speaking too fast. I used to do it. Forgive me, is that the case? Let me recap because I know we are running out of time. Working with Spain in a secure legal frame, benefiting from remarkable new tax rebates, having access to a great talent pool from Spain and Europe, with cutting-edge technology companies in a highly qualified and connected industry at a competitive price point. What else would you need to know? Well, as Gonzalo mentioned, maybe a little bit more about our wonderful paella, Sunny. Well, yeah, that's true. We have one of the most friendly lifestyles and beautiful countries around the world. So I'm sure you're gonna love working with us. So before saying goodbye, let me encourage you again to get in touch with us at www.divus.com, and we'll help you through the process of connecting with the best companies for you and your work. Thank you very much. Back to you, Elena.
Thank you, Natalie. And now, yes, now we are going to see the video about animation that our animation fellows have prepared for us. Let's see if this time is working. Well, that was it. So now we are starting with our Q&A. We start with the first question, that is, what's the maximum percentage for the taxpayer investment in Hispanic co-productions? And it's by an anonymous attendee. So maybe Teresa can answer this question. Teresa, what's the maximum percentage for the taxpayer investment in Spanish co-productions?
Okay, Elena, thank you.
Hi.
For Spanish co-productions, they qualify as Spanish films, and the maximum amount, the maximum percentage now is the same as for international productions. That is 30% for the first million in Spain, with the exception of Basque Country, Navarre, and Canary Island. In Canary Island, the maximum amount is 50% for the first million and 45% for the rest of the expenditure. I can add up to this, as Adrián has said, when we talk about the Spanish co-production, another important fact is to analyze the expenditure, the eligible expenditure, because for international productions, there are some caps that don't apply for Spanish productions. But I think that we will need to analyze this case in particular to say. But as the question was maximum percentage, the maximum percentage is, as I said, 30% for the first million in Spain, with the exception of Canary Island, that is 50%.
Sorry, just to clarify one thing. If the question is about a Spanish taxpayer who wants to invest in a Spanish film, he can invest up to 25% of his tax corporate or IRPF as a professional. Like if you are paying €1,000,000 in taxes, then you can offset up to 25% of that. If you invest more, then you can offset it the next years, but it's capped at 25% of your tax payment.
Okay, I thought it was about the production and not the investor. Thank you, Adrián, for your.
I think it was more about it was about the because it says the maximum percentage for the taxpayer investment. Anyway, next question I think is for our animation people, Gonzalo or Natalie. How competitive are the rates in Spain for animation?
So Gonzalo, would you like to start? Well, I would say they are great. I mean, they are great because the cost of living in Spain is not as high as other territories. So they are well paid, but still, you know, for an international budget, it's quite affordable. And that combined with the new tax rebates and all what we've been speaking here today, it makes it even better. So I will encourage people to connect with us. Usually companies can work with you through the budget and putting together, you know, all these rates for you. I wouldn't call it rates because it depends on a lot. But yeah, I mean, tailor a budget for you and see how it works, applying with and without tax rebates. But before rates, our prices are surprisingly, you know, better than other territories because of the cost of living in Spain, which is a great thing that we have to. Gonzalo, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, I have to mention about the quality. Maybe there are other countries that are cheaper. Of course, there are lots, but maybe with not that quality. So because I think Spanish for the rate of quality and expense is a very, very good bargain. So yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Sorry, this is not very easy sometimes. It's not very organic sometimes. Okay, we have a question that is about, you know, is the tax rebate in Mallorca 30% of the first million and 25% of the second, third, etc.? Yes, that's correct. Mallorca, so far, there are not other incentives in Mallorca. We know that there is like the Balearic Film Commission is thinking about that. Maybe Teresa can give us more information, but so far it applies the same rebate than in mainland Spain. Teresa, do you have more information on the subject? Or
it's perfect what you have said, Elena. It's the same incentive as in the rest of mainland Spain. What I suggest to the people who ask this question is that he can go to the Mallorca Film Commission. They are at the Cannes online market, and they can give you more information. But as refers to the rebate, is 30% for the first million and 25% for the rest, as Elena has said.
Okay, we have a very interesting question from Nassim Abbasi. Thanks for listening, Nassim. The question is, I have a film project set in Morocco with some Spanish cast. like one of the main characters. Can my project benefit from tax rebate if some of the crew is Spanish? Oh, sorry, it's like, sorry. If some of the crew is Spanish and if post-production is done in Spain?
Yeah, I can answer. Yes, I think with minimum updates, you can probably qualify as a minority co-producer. It depends on how many Spanish elements you have in the cast. But yeah, it sounds like you're in the right path to qualify for a minority co-production where you can access the tax shelter, not the tax rebate, because the tax rebate will only work for the post-production. If you're using tax shelter, then you will also be able to claim the tax incentive on the Spanish actors' fees while working in Morocco, and the same with any Spanish teams you take to Morocco with you.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. Now we have a question for Natasha. Hi, this is Michael from Seven Island Film, Canary Islands. It will be good to mention that the maximum in Canary Islands is for the 36.2 is 54% for the first million if the total budget is not too small, that the 54% will be more than 50% of the total budget, by Michael Fredlin. I'm not sure of what he means, Natasha. Maybe
Yes,
you are.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
thanks.
Hi, Michael. Yes, it's indeed possible, but not for all projects. As a public institution, we give the message of the 50-45 because this 50-45 tax rebate is sure for all the projects. But in some cases, it will be possible to apply a 54% tax rebate for the first million, but it depends on your deduction base, and it depends on the total cost of your project. So we give the message in general about 50-45 because it's sure for all the projects, but there are some cases that you will apply, or you can apply the 54%, but you have to study case by case the project, okay? But is indeed possible, the 54%.
Okay, thanks, Teresa. I hope, I'm sure, Natasha, sorry. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. It takes a little bit of time. This is for either Gonzalo or Natalie. What is the current trend for animation for Spanish studio, 2D or 3D? And since there is another animation question, I mean VFX question, sorry, Fernando Ayon wants to know, would you mind talking about real-time chroma key in a studio? I think he wants to, he refers to more the artistic side than really the production side. But since, we're having you, Gonzalo and Natalie, if you will be so kind to answer both of the questions. The trend for animation for Spanish studio, 2D or 3D, would you mind talking about real-time chroma key in a studio? Thanks.
Okay, so if I'm gonna take care of the trend, and then I'm gonna send it over to Gonzalo to speak about. I don't have any idea of technical questions. So, well, we do both. We have a huge history of and tradition, I would say, of 2D animation, because here in Spain, as Gonzalo mentioned before, all the artistic background that we have along the years, and also the comic books and comic artists has been remarkable in Spain. So we have a huge 2D animation background. But it's true that in the last, let's say, 15 to 10 years, a lot of very good and very well-reputed 3D or CGI animation companies have emerged. And some of the top ones are CGI animation. We could speak about Ilion, now called Skydance Animation, or even Livebox, which are the creators of Tad Jones. My own company is also a CGI company. So I think maybe, but for example, Klaus was done in a traditional 2D animation house, Spa Studios, but they also improved and innovated in the techniques for 2D, doing this kind of mix in between 2D and CGI look. So I would say there's not a trend, but if you are interested of one on another or another, you should contact us because we for sure gonna find you the right partner. And now I'm sending it over to Gonzalo.
Okay.
You're with the technical.
Okay, we are talking about chroma key in real time. Then we have to talk about virtual production because it really is a system that tracks the camera live. So you can put the asset by maybe Unreal or another game engine. You can see how the lighting on the set is live. So the DP can really light the actors as they were there. So it's very, very good for integration. So the secret of that is getting a very, very detailed assets, very high detail. If you get cheap assets, you will get a cheap background. But we are making a lot of progress in that thing, in visual production, not only for chroma keying, but also for putting the LED panels. Those technologies can combine together. And also you have to think about virtual production as an insurance. Why is that? Because maybe you have a set and you have a digital double of that set. So maybe it gets burned or it gets deteriorated by whatever. So you have scanned before. You did a LiDAR scan and photogrammetry of the set. So you have this digital double of the set. So you can use it afterwards. You know? I think that's a very, very good idea that is certainly in the industry. And also because of the retakes, I think it's a great advantage because maybe the retake you have to do months after, or with this coronavirus, they stopped the production. And then if you have this digital double set, you can go to another studio, put a chroma, get this camera extract in real time, get the asset, your digital double, and light it up, and then shoot. So I think it's a very, very good, interesting technology that in Spain is investing a lot in it. And yeah, I think it's the future that is right now in the fingertips.
And I can add that in Madrid, there's the first LED volume stage in the south of Europe. So there's a lot of facilities already in place in the territory to take advantage of virtual production.
Okay, thank you. This is a question that maybe you can answer, Adrian, because they want to know if it's possible to benefit from two of the subsidies, from the tax rebate from the Canary Island and also from the inline tax rebate. No te oímos, Adrián, perdón.
¿Me Hello?
Ahora sí,
yeah,
ahora sí.
Perfect. Yeah, it's possible. It's something that we do very often. Like we are shooting a movie in Canary Islands, and sometimes some processes need to take place in mainland Spain. So you ask Mark what expenditure takes place in mainland Spain and what takes place in the islands, and apply the percentage that makes sense for it. So it's something completely standard and usual.
Okay, thank you.
May I, Elena?
Yes, sure.
Yes, just to say, to adapt to this answer, that of course you can combine production in continental Spain and in Canary Island, but you can't add up the incentive for the same expenditure.
Okay.
And you can get a 50% and then a 30% and an 80% for the same expenditure, just to clarify.
Okay, I think that maybe that is what this person was trying to say.
That is
okay. we have a couple more questions. Let me see. Okay, I mean, this one is from another anonymous attendee. How might producers go about making a connection with the Spanish co-producers if they have no prior connection with the Spanish producer? Well, there is something called Spanish Film Commission, and the Spanish Film Commission may able to assist anybody who is interested in making connection with the Spanish producers. Right, Teresa?
Yes, that's right. And not only us, of course, Spain Film Commission and all the regional film commission that are now in Cannes, but also the Spanish Film Institute that is hosting this panel. They are helping Spanish producers, and they are in contact with, I would say, all the producers in Spain, and also Invest in Spain, that is a branch of the Spanish government. Then you have 3 different steps you can go to look for information for co-producers.
If I may, Elena, I will just,
yes.
In the case of animation and VFX, as I said, any of these venues are great. And if you want to contact direct with us, as I mentioned during my speech, connect with divus.com, which is our website. We have a form there. You can write and introduce your company, and we'll match you up with the right company for your project.
Okay, another question by Ileana Vasquez. Are there any funding aside from the rebates? This is very general because it depends whether if it's a Spanish national, if the film qualifies as a Spanish film, if it's just like a production service. Adrian, maybe that you are very experienced in both fields, you would like to answer.
Yeah, sure. What was the question? I got broken in between as you were reading, and I cannot see it here on the Q&A list. It's not
the question
up.
is, are there any funding aside from the
I got that one. If you are doing a Spanish movie, yes, you can apply for subsidies and local grants, but the whole support from the Spanish government is capped generally at a 50% between what you can get from the Spanish tax rebate and what you get from the subsidies.
Okay, thanks a lot, Adrian. I don't know if we have more questions. Let me see. Anyway, one last question, because we have like a couple of minutes. Does Spain have a treaty in place with Czech Republic? Do we know that? Actually, I don't know. I don't know if anyone here can answer us. But anyway, in the webpage of the Institute of Cinema, which is ICAA, there is a page that is in English, and you can see all the international treaties. I'm not sure right now. I don't know if anybody can answer this, whether if there is a treaty with Czech Republic. The question is by Christine Kreska.
Yes, I think there's a co-production treaty, but as you said, the best is that they go to the Spanish Film Institute page, and you have all the information there. But I think there's a co-production treaty with the Czech Republic.
Okay, this is a question for Natasha. Are you considering to change the minimum 2 million budget and 1 million spending in Canarias to help the low budget productions?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yes. we talk about it, and we try to do that, but it's not our competence. That's something that should allow by the tax revenue in Spain, not by the Canary Islands government. But yes, we think about to change the minimum spend in the Canary Island and the 2 million euros of budget, because it's important also to hold so medium budget, medium projects, but it's not our competence, sorry.
It's a pity, but the question is good. The question is good, and it's something very important that can be considered by the tax authorities. Okay, we have a question for Adrian. Adrian, if I have a film 8 millimeters and the Spanish co-production, sorry. If I have a film 8 million and the Spanish co-production part is 40%, but most of the shooting takes place in 2 other countries, can I use the tax shelter for the Spanish creative and the crew shooting outside Spain and then make use of the rebate if the post-production is mostly in Spain? Did I get it right? It's by Miguel Escobar.
In theory, it's possible to combine the Spanish tax shelter and the Spanish tax rebate. The problem is for the tax shelter, you need to have a minimum of 50% of Spanish local expenditure. So if you want to reroute some of the local expenditure to the tax rebate, then you won't have enough to trigger the tax shelter. I think in this case, you are most likely looking to do it all through the tax shelter. I think once you set up the structure, it's easy to just keep it under one roof, especially at that budget level. If you're talking about 40 million, then it may make sense, but 8 million, I think it's completely doable under the tax shelter scheme.
Okay, thank you so much to all the attendees. Thank you for your questions. I'm afraid we're running out of time. Just to wrap it up, I would like to remind you that the tax rebate in mainland Spain is 30% for the first million and 25% for the rest of the expenditure made in Spain. Canary Islands is no less than 50% the first million and 45% for the rest. The minimum expenditure is 2 million euros. Sorry?
1 million.
1 million.
Sorry. We were talking about this, and there is also the Navarre incentives, 35%. But in any case, please, you have all the website Canary Islands Films, shootinginspain.com, and you also have the website of the ICAA, which is the Spanish Film Institute. So thank you for being here, and I hope we see you all in Spain very soon, shooting films and all kind of productions. Thank you for being here, and thank you to all our speakers. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Elena. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.